Hello and welcome to another video for Final Fantasy XIV with me, Meoni. Today we're looking at All Saints Wake 2022. Again, this is a second All Saints Wake due to delays on previous years. Today we're going to be looking at the rewards for this. I'm not going to spoil the story for you, let you enjoy that yourself. It's always a treat to read through this, but I'm going to leave that for you. So let's look at the rewards. There are quite a few this time around. So if you're interested in taking part in this, simply come over to Old Gridania. So come to New Gridania and then use the mini Aetheryte to come over to Mi Keto's Amphitheater. You'll find a quest that says level 15, a Mad Masquerade. This is located at X 10.2 Y 9.1, and this will be kicking off the quest to get your rewards. In fact, if you go up to the actual quest giver, who's dressed very nicely here, the investigator, you'll see the reward that we get straight away. So for just doing this quest to completion, you get a 5-set glamour set, which we'll look at with dyes and other previews at some point in this video as well. After a small amount of running around and transforming, you'll get your 5-set very easily. So once you've completed this, you will actually get the Many Faces achievement as well, which, as you can see in here, is the completion of a Mad Masquerade. After this, you will see there's also a repeatable quest over here, and also the Wake Doctor has a quest here to actually be brought into the brand new mansion, which also has an outdoors area, which is very interesting. So in addition to be able to take part in a really cool side thing inside the Haunted Mansion, which I'll let you enjoy because there are no tangible rewards from that other than exciting transformations and things like that, and a nice new setting. And there's repeatable quests here that will give you pumpkin prismatics and a nice little side story from that character. If you come over here, you'll find the Bespectacled Peddler, and this is where you get the other two event items. The Ballroom Etiquette Pumpkin Pleasures, which is the /cookie, so that's /eat cookie, for 2,500 gil. And we've also got the Caged Wisp outdoors housing item. Oh no, it's indoors, isn't it? It's a tabletop indoors item, sorry. There we go. And if you really want, you can just buy the pumpkin magic prisms for 2 gil each. So you don't necessarily have to go do the side quests. I do advise going and spending time to do these quests personally, but it's totally up to you. If you just want the rewards, you can do the main quest like we just did, and then buy everything else from the vendor there. Very cool stuff. Let's look at these rewards. Okay, first let's look at the emote then. So we're going to learn the Pumpkin Pleasures emote. And as you will find on the emote list, it should be highlighted with a green dot because it's brand new, right? It was something we've just added. It'll also be down near the other eat emotes if you've got any of the others like breakfast, egg, apple, rice, that sort of thing. And you can use this whilst swimming, underwater, whilst standing, whilst seated, whilst on a mount. And yeah, very, very, very cool. Let's have a look at this together. So it is very much the same as every other emote that's eating. We do, however, have a really nice high-res textured cookie. It would be nice, obviously, if we could take bites out of this, but that's technology of the future, right? Technology that's reserved for cutscenes. It is a nice emote to get, and of course, having it accessible in the game is really nice. Remember that if you don't pick this up now, you will have to obviously spend real money on this when it comes to the cash shop in the following year, because that's what they do with the obviously all of the in-game event items. It is a lovely emote, but there's very little for us to talk about here. So let's move on to the other parts of this. Okay, here we are in my FC house, eating again another pumpkin cookie. Let's look at this indoors item then. So this is a tabletop mounted item if we so wish to, but of course we can place this on the floor as well. So let's put this down on the floor and we'll see what this looks like. So there we go. Ooh, this looks very nice. Let's get nice and close to this. Okay. It has a slight flame effect, sound effect you probably can't hear. Hold on. Let's see if we can turn up the sound effects just a little bit. Is it ambience? So you'll hear on the ambience track, there's a slight flame sound effect there that wasn't there previously. So that's worth bearing in mind, obviously, that exists. Obviously, this item is, you know, supposed to be a caged wisp. It is not quite fully caged, is it? You know, like the cage is slightly open. It is the same all the way around, but of course you've got this hook on the top here, which looks really awesome. It'd be nice if we could hook things to other things in housing, but again, then the cage kind of with the spikes almost looks like a mouth. Very cool stuff. You can tell this is an All Saints Wake item, so that's good. Obviously, we have Furniture Die ability. So let's have a quick look at that. Let's go back into this first-person mode. There we go. So the thing that actually dies is the main metal of the cage. I'd be surprised if it wasn't. I'd be surprised if it was the wisp or something. So it is, you know, if you want this to look good against other sections of your house, like Ruby Red, for example, dies quite nicely, nice bright reds. You've got like Dalamud, which is nice muted colors. So it dies quite darkly as a palette. For example, Cherry Pink is quite purple almost in this lighting. And then we've got browns, obviously, which turn almost black in some of the shades. So I think personally I would go for a brighter color because you're going to end up with a slightly muted color anyway. But that's a good thing. Look at that green, like Hunter Green, for example. Very nice. Celeste is quite eye-popping, and turquoise looks really good. That looks really good, though, doesn't it? The Dragoon Blue, because it's quite a strong color, and it's emphasized how dark and inky that is. Yeah, very cool stuff. It's going to be very nice to put this on, you know, different surfaces. And yeah, that's the beauty of tabletop items, isn't it? The ability to pick this up and put it on any old table. So there you go. That's where you'll more likely see it. And of course, it is a source of light. So if you took down your lighting, you would see this beautiful blue flame flickering in the darkness, which is absolutely fantastic, isn't it? Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. But yes, that is pretty much it for the housing item, I think. So let's go and have a look at this glamour outfit. I'm very excited to see what this looks like. Okay, here we are once again in Explorer mode of the Grand Cosmos, because it is always the same time of day and is always bright and sunny, so it gives you the best and natural light demonstration of any glamour set. I'm going to be using this pretty much for any future glamour because it saves me having to wait for the time and wait for it to stop raining in the game. So this is the outfit then. This is a 5-piece outfit. We've got the Wake Doctor's mask, obviously equipable by level 1 and above on any class. We have Wake Doctor's white coat, the rubber gloves, the bottoms, and the shoes. Specifically then, let's quickly look in G-pose at this. Turn off depth of field. So immediately, this reminds me of the Sand People from Star Wars. It's mostly the mask, I think, but if you had like a big wooden stick, you know, like the Dragoon weapon, you know, the Far Eastern Journey stick, you would be able to do a Sand People glamour so incredibly easy with parts of this. Overall, though, it is a very unique looking outfit. I don't think we've had some gas masks before in the game, but I don't think they've been quite as radical as this. It seems like we've got respirators or something attached to the top of our head there on the side of it. I don't really know what those are supposed to be. Or bolts maybe going through the head with like bandages, and then we've got these like straps like what you usually get on a straitjacket. And then a sort of gobby, you know, the goblin mask front of it. Another way of describing this is if you wanted to create a glamour to make yourself look like Shinra from Final Fantasy X-2, you know, the little child. If you've played that game, this is also a great way of doing it because he had that mask on permanently. So I think that's more what they're going for. Obviously, with a Makote, we actually have these little ears in the fabric, which I'm sure aren't present in other people. And these, you know, the goggles strapped on. It reminds me more of Shinra than it does anything else, honestly. The coat in itself is a beautiful item, I personally think. A long trench coat with an undershirt and this sort of necktie, this neckerchief tie with a little badge on it. Yeah, I really like this. And the leather sort of strapped, you know, tool belt. Look at this. And we've got, what is that? Is that for like a lobotomy on there? Like a chisely thing? And some twine. I mean, you could easily mistake this for like a crafter. You know what I mean? We've got some scissors, like medical scissors here, and some, like, I don't know what those are, vials or something. Like, from a distance, you're like, oh, it's a doctor. But is it really? Is it doing experiments on your mind? Very cool, actually. I really like this glamour. And the reason I like it is because it's not something that any of us expected. It's something different, and it goes a different direction completely. I love the stitching on the top of the arms, for example. Stuff like that. Little elements give you the idea that this is, you know, this character's gone through some interesting tests. Like at the back, we've got these 3 slash marks, like a Wolverine has just ripped open the coat. And he's just sewed this up, you know, through one of the previous tests. That's why I think this is more like Hojo, sort of, you know, that kind of illegal experiments kind of thing, like maybe even what's his name, Aulus Thingy from this game, the mad scientist we kill in the chair, that guy. I think it's more akin to that. I love this outfit. So individually then, these pieces, we should look at the individual sections. We've looked at the hat, but without the helm, if you didn't have that, it is quite a nice looking set on its own. If you just wanted to use the jacket, it reminds me immediately like this of the Charlene outfit that we still at this point don't have in the game, for example. Very nice. Your hair doesn't clip into this if you have long hair. Ah, it's cool. Mad scientist Meoni, that is basically. If we take the chest off, we have these legs, right? And you can see the gloves at the same time. The legs are something that you don't normally see the top of, but we have this kind of, what is this? Like a, looks like a key holder or something, like a satchel of some description that you'd put your keys in that. Got a very nice belt and a cross belt for the satchel. These are some really nice trousers. The only problem is if you're a Makote, and I presume an Aura at this point, that rear strap is going to be visible going through your tail. They didn't really think about that too much, but that's fine. That's, you know, most of the time tails are an afterthought, I'm afraid. The rubber gloves have this nice symbol on them. They don't look necessarily rubber either. They look just, I don't know, like a Kevlar mitt or something. Very nice. I actually like the stitching on those. And the boots, they're quite effective as well. Very nice. It's rare for there to be a multi-gender boot looking like that, to be perfectly honest. More recently, they've added some, but those are really nice. Look at the leather on those. Very nice shine. So that's what the outfit looks like in pieces. Of course, if we were to take the legs off as well, you'll see where the boots come up to. There we go. We've got some socks attached to that as well. I didn't realize the socks were there, so I'm glad we took the trousers off. Yes, very cool. Little ankle socks. Quite nice, aren't they? So there remains a couple of things to do before we move on to the dies, and that's look at it on other characters, right? On other races, and then we'll move on to the dies. Just to reiterate the point, here we are on my Lalafell alt. Just have a look at this. And it really, really, really does remind me of the Shinra character from Final Fantasy X-2. Literally, it's just screaming, I'm just a kid. You know, if you remember that character. Looks good. It really, really does. And honestly, if you're a Lalafell and you like Final Fantasy X-2, you've probably already got this, right? You've probably already picked this up. It looks good in all sizes. The head looks a bit chibi, but that's pretty much how Lalafells kind of look anyway. So, yeah. Let's look at the big elephant in the room, though, which would be Viera and Hrothgar. Alrighty, here we are on a Viera on the right here, to your right, and there's a Hrothgar to your left as we look onto these characters. And you'll be pleased to know that both Viera and Hrothgar have the ability to wear the headpiece. Can we get a round of applause, please, for this fantastic development? A brand new item introduced into the game, and we can wear the helms. So my alt and Fran's alt here are going to be very happy with the ability to wear this outfit. And it isn't a bad looking outfit. I quite like the helm. So we've got some varied sort of way that they've implemented this. If we look at the Hrothgar, we have the little ears like we have on the Mikote. So they're kind of made a little bit of extra fabric. They went to the extreme lengths of making it thicker, obviously to cover the full extent of the Hrothgar. It doesn't look bad at the back. It goes well into the jacket. Honestly, this is the best they've done in terms of like scaling outfits to other races, honestly, other than just a typical humanoid. So they've done a really good job. The gloves look really good, obviously. Yeah, I'm very pleased with this. And then obviously on Viera, we have the ears pop out the top. Now, this is something I've said for the longest time. Why don't we just have helms available for Viera, but just have the ears pop out the top? No one's going to mind. It doesn't matter. It's still more believable than deleting the ears, right? Because there's no way you're going to be a Viera and sort of cramp those inside that mask. That looks so much better. It really does. It's quite comical as well. But the fact that you can wear it means that this is proof that they should go back and make this available for the others. I will not rest until we have more helms for Viera and Hrothgar in everything I ever share of opinions on this platform. But yeah, I think they've done a really good job here. They deserve a thumbs up. And I think, yeah, it fits really well. Obviously, the outfit looks slightly bulkier on the Hrothgar to match the skeletal figure. But everything's been scaled perfectly. And as we saw on my Lalafell, even on the smallest character, it looks really good. And on the biggest characters, it looks really good as well. Very pleased with this one. Excellent job, Square Enix. Very pleased. Right, let's move on to the dies. Let's see how this dies. Can they go a full 3 for 3 on this? All right, looking at dies, we have some very strong dye colors on this palette. And apart from the default undyed look, which obviously has the much darker downstairs area for the trousers and the boots, obviously dyeing everything the same color is going to bring that brightness up. It is a strong, very vivid palette and looks really good on a lot of a good selection of the brighter dyes. We're going through the basic palette here as well as some metallic and special dyes. They look really striking. I like the way this dyes and I couldn't ask for anything better. I like the way that the leather inset and the straps and things are all separate to that. It would look probably a little bit silly if those sections dyed as well. It would be ideal if we had a palette option where we can pick between those, but of course this is the best option that I can imagine that they could have gone with. Very nice strong colors. Yeah, I give that a good solid score. Honestly, that's very well done. But overall, I think that this glamour really has achieved two things. One, it's proved that you can make a glamour look good on all races. Two, you can incorporate something that isn't necessarily the atypical look at me, I'm a pretty dress that's locked to a certain gender situation. And I think overall there's probably even a third thing that they can, they can get away with being a little bit more brave with some of the outfits. This is very cool. It gives me all kinds of nostalgia for various different things, be that goblins or be that Shinra from Final Fantasy X-2 or mad scientists. And it really does answer that kind of weird Halloween kind of vibe going on here. Very cool stuff. Let me know what you think about the rewards into obviously today's video that we showed, but also the Halloween event. If you've enjoyed it, if you've done on any of the side stuff, any of the repeatable quests and the new Haunted Manor, let me know what you think, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.